I'll make sure it's being recorded. It is recorded right now. So thank you, Lily. All right. Again, thank you for coming to the meeting. I know everybody is busy. We spend next maybe 30 minutes together, talk about Allapops. Thank you for your investment and also the trust in the company. And we'll work together. I'll work for you in the future very hard. So we'll make it happen. And there, as for the first things we'll talk about, as usual, we'll talk about a story. This time I see how to make candy, how to make candy. So that's actually a new job when I found Allapop is the potential for uh, allergies. So candy is not was not in my part of my life since I was young. Actually, I almost didn't eat candy when I was little at all. Even though at that time the candy was quite cheap in China at that rural area, probably less than a penny a piece. So even with that, we couldn't have that resource or money to buy that. It's very rare. It's going to be either New Year or sometime we can have a piece of candy. Of course, the sweet things at that time we can get commonly is in the fall time. The corn stalk. I don't know if you tried that. The corn stalk, if you peel off the piece, the hard piece in the inner part of that, some of them actually taste sweet. So that's the most things available that is sweet to me as a kid when I was maybe less than 10 years old. So after that, after I got the idea the sweet things, the Allapop, something similar can cure allergies. I got compensation of not eating candy in my early day time. So I was trying to figure out what is the best remedy, best form actually to deliver this kind of cure to the public. The initial form of the Allapop I use is actually some kind of a fudge. So mix everything together, cook it not that hot and not that long, but it's quite soft, but still sticky. We tested it can store in the room temperature for several weeks, something like that. It looks fine. Uh, but I thought there's still quite some water in it. It won't store in the room temperature for very long, not for months or years. So for sure. So that's the things. So after that, I need to actually modify the recipe to see how can we make something available. It is for the mouse. It is for the uh, um, it has to be a candy something. There's a different form of is there's hard candy, soft candy, or other sweet dessert things like that. Eventually, I see a hard candy is lasts the longest. So I tried that first. I cook that since uh, to the high temperature, more than almost 300 degrees Fahrenheit, things like that. 310 actually is the hard candy temperature. So that's the every time I cook it, and in between to almost there will be smoke come out. Some of the ingredient is actually cannot tolerate that high temperature. So eventually I have to come back from the idea of hard candy. So tried some other recipes from soft candy to jello, things like that. Eventually, uh, many cooking, and I have to actually miniaturize my experiment. If the regular cooking pot is too big, I eventually use the cup measure, the steel cup measure, 1 cup, half cup, a third cup, things like use that very small cooking jar to cooking those different recipe and modify that. Each day we maybe have a handful of testing, things like that. After um, about 3 or 4 months, things like that, we usually come something together almost close to the form we have right now today. But at that time, I thought I'm almost ready to find out, to find someone has to make these things in a production fashion. Is that going to be me or someone else? I tried both to find out, can I make it? Can I get some machine here and set up a shop or a factory in New Mexico? Let me figure out how difficult is that. So I went to the uh, environment department in New Mexico State and their office of food department, something like that, uh, and checked what's the requirement. It was tons of requirement, certification of every piece of machine as food grade, things like that. Most of the machine has to be imported from outside of the country. That was process uh, cannot be done within a year. It has to be several years, and the investment is probably several times higher than I can afford myself at that time. So that's giving up to have a shop myself and then see who can do the contract manufacturing, call out and send an email to the parties inside the States and also Mexico, China, and even Korea, things like those people. Most of them say, we don't want to modify our process, and the others say minimum order is 1 million piece, and there's only one actually the left saying we can try that and try your recipe and see if it fits our process. That's a middle-sized confectionery factory in China, and we eventually worked together to continue modify my original recipe and form the current recipe as a semi-soft or close to hard candy. The good thing is that it's hard at the room temperature. When you put it in your mouth, it actually become softer, so that tastes better. So that's the current form where we got. Yep, that's the from the hard candy dream to the jello and in between. So that's what we got. It works pretty good right now. So it actually, this form lasts longer in the mouth. Both hard candy and jello form, actually, they won't last long, maybe 5-10 minutes. But this one, it can last for 45 minutes to an hour. The initial user actually complained to me actually why it won't melt and you don't allow me to chew at the same time. We said that's the purpose. So that's actually the best form of the Alapop. You don't take much of the sugar at the same time it does the job. Okay, so that's how we got this today's Alapop as its form. Um, Update about the campaign we're having about 2 weeks to go. It's going to close April 30th on that day. So if you have any friends, family, or you want to increase, things like that, this is time to consider that after April 30, the Wayfinder campaign will be closed. So the allergy season here in New Mexico is right now it's still at its peak. It should go down. Austin or any other people, if you have allergies, still have some bit of symptom. The good news is next week is probably going to come down gradually. At the end of the April, it should be all the juniper pollen should be gone. So our sales has been steady in the last several weeks. Monday and Tuesday, when the temperature drops, the pollen drops, it does dip as well. So so we rely on the weather of the cell at some point. So the local response has been pretty good. I actually yesterday a lady came in. She said she took the pop in her 18 or something like that. The 2018, her allergy has been gone, but she's finally ready to buy another box for her family. So it took some time. It took a year, could be, for the next action to do something for the family. So that's the process we are facing. The new product is always the knowledge between knowing and acting is always there's a lagging period of time. So that tells us we need working hard on the message and how to convert the message to action a little faster. Those that's how we should do in the future, actually, to message in a way so that people will act quickly. So along the way, as some people actually talked about, there's a small portion of people after using Allapops, they feel better, but their symptoms don't go completely away. So we are thinking about some other product to for those people as well. So there are other ways like a toothpaste, probably some form of that with some of our ingredients in it, and that'll take long time to use to change the microbiota in the mouth gradually. There's a potential to increase the good bacteria even further, so that those um, the last piece of those symptoms can go away. So that's for those people. So we'll see when we have the next product. I'm actually talking with one of the investor. They work in the oral hygiene industry. I'll see if we can do something together, make toothpaste sometime later this year or early next year. So we'll see. So that's about the update. So if you have, this is 15 minutes, that's good. If you have any questions about the company, the product, and the future planning, and we can chat about that. So last week we had, go ahead.
This is Catherine. So are the Allerpops currently being made in a commercial kitchen?
Yes, it is. It is a factory actually. They are a confectionery plant. Yeah, they have quite a capacity.
And did I understand that some of the ingredients come from outside the continental United States?
Some of them, yes, that's right. They are.
So
they come across the world, different country actually.
So in the time of, ships lined up outside LA because of COVID, there
Mhm.
not being people to unload the ships, and in the time of that ship getting stuck in the Suez Canal, etc.
Mhm.
How vulnerable are is Allerpops to not being able to have the ingredients?
Mhm.
And I'm mostly asking this question because, God forbid that um, um, Oprah Winfrey should, because she comes to Taos and she
Mhm.
has a ranch in Tasuki. No, she's around. So God forbid she should mention Allerpops on her show, and Allerpops not be ready to be able to go ahead and make that million that million piece order for lack of um, the ingredients. So it's two questions. What
Yeah.
about the
Yep.
ingredient?
Mhm.
And also, what if for some reason, lucky reason, you needed to ramp up production a lot really quickly?
Yeah, yeah. So there are the stability of all the ingredients are very stable, like those sugars and amino acid. The individual component we know from the factory stability test is that they last for many, many years, 5 to 10 years, like arginine. They said 5 years or even more. Their testing is actually, they won't change in the room temperature, plus minus, things like that, not that much. It's very stable. As far as my test of Allapop as a whole, I still have the second shipment that came early 18. I have those samples. It's still good, at least according to my taste, visual. They haven't changed much. So it's should be very stable. You don't have to refrigerate or keep it in a low temperature. Room temperature is fine. As far as the shipping along the way, I think the temperature on the ship is not that high. It's not that high. It's high. If you have all those shipping containers all add all together, the temperature definitely won't go really high. I'm not sure how they cover the top ones in the sun or things like that. They might have some cover, but at least the over the ocean, the temperature won't go too high. So that's in those temperature, it should be stable. That's the first question. The other is the the plant actually they can make lots of each month they can make 10 tons of that. I cannot use that capacity right now. So each time we offer maybe less than a ton or something like that. It's minimum right now. It's at their minimum volume for order. So that's I think that current production capacity is enough for at least for the near future, or at least one TV show, things like that. It won't. As far according to my calculation, like a news section, if let's say, for example, the Today Show, if they report it, that probably will sell up to 10, 20,000 pieces. That's according to my calculation. We do have those things here, so it's okay. Um, and also those impact tend to be not lasting. It's usually the first day is 50% of the total impact, and then gradually goes down. That's generally the impact. At least that's my observation with the news coverage in New Mexico. So that's also why for the long run, any product cannot rely on the news to move the market. So we are ready for that. At the same time, we have to planning for the inventory as well. If we have for example, the clinical trial, we are ready to publish that to be reported and try to make some news. We will try to get more inventory. That's what we planned to have, maybe 80 to 100,000. 100,000 boxes here. So we'll see. That's the vulnerable piece is probably not only us. In a much bigger fashion is like Suez Canal congested. That's those kind of things. Fortunately, we probably don't use that path go through the Pacific, but there could be some other reasons that like the weather, things like that, accident. Yeah. We probably need to look for the secondary production facility, contract manufacturing as well. That's because there's other reasons to do that as well, to have one actually within the US. So that's in the consideration. So the things that when we have a bigger volume of cell, that'll make it easier for those options as well. When we have to order smaller volume, there's always much less choice to do that.
So I just want to clarify. So actually, Allerpops are currently being made offshore.
Mhm.
Is that, did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay. And the I'm
Brother.
Okay.
so do you have alternate sort? I'm glad to hear that the materials are so stable. That's a help.
Mhm.
Do you have alternate sources for the basic materials?
Oh, the basic material is common. They are actually, as far as I know, all ingredients we can have it or in US made. That's probably we can have it or here is fine. Smaller country probably they cannot have it. So China they can have almost everything. Mexico probably they don't. So that's the things that I know. So yeah, I think ingredient is there are definitely like lactose or arginine. There are many different manufacturing and also distribution channels. There are definitely multiple choices.
Hey, well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, but the only thing is right now we need the second manufacturing capacity or plant to do that. So that's the right now we have only one confectionery factory to do that.
Cliff.
Yes, Joe.
So, I have a question on behalf of my grandson. He's 9 years old, gets some allergies. Is it safe for him to use the product? And are basically the directions the same for someone that is 9 that as it is for an adult?
Yeah, it is the same. It is the same. This as long as they can follow the procedure, the standard procedure can apply.
Okay.
Even 5, 6 years old, the youngest one probably 4 something. We in the 19, I know the teachers' kids here He was something like a 5. He did that.
Okay,
They need only, kids tend to respond much better, actually. It's probably because their system is more flexible, something like that.
okay,
Yeah, because of all the ingredients, they are just food. So even for the kids younger than that, they don't have to follow the procedure. That's probably their doctor can just supervise, do some brief introduction, and have them suck it on it. I know the kids, even as infant, they could uh, have something like don't have enough of this good bacteria. So the symptom for those infant is that you can see two indication when they have the eczema on their face, next to their mouth, things like that. That's the symptom. They don't have enough of the good bacteria. That tell you their immune system is fighting themselves or something next to it. So that's when. On the other hand, it's the when the kids have that thrush, so the fungi infection in the mouth. So that tells the other story is that they have too much of those good bacteria.
Yeah.
So we want to stay anything in between. So
okay, good.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna send them some.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cliff, so are you saying that Candida albicans is one of the desirable bacteria to, well, it's not exactly a bacteria, but anyhow, bug to have in your oral cavity?
No, not that one. That's actually causing the thrust. I think the whiteness of that
Right.
infection. No, that's, but they are everywhere. They are everywhere. They don't cause trouble. They don't cause trouble as long as you have some level of immunity. It'll be controlled quite well. But for some reason, in the early age, the infant, their immune system is suppressed just too much, or the, what do we call it, good bacteria is just too much. The immunity is not that strong, and those fungi can grow. So yeah, fungi is everywhere. They don't usually cause trouble. It's okay. We do need those good or bad. What it really depends. So even we call it probiotics, we cannot have too much of it. So okay. All right. Thank you. I think that's probably the meeting today. Thank you again for your participation. We'll continue this meeting until the end of the campaign, and then after that, in May, we probably just have once a month after that. And also, I know we have the perk, which some of you will have the options to select the seminars. We have 4 seminars because of this We Found campaign. So some of you will get 1 or 2, 4 of them altogether. So we'll send out the plan of those webinars after the campaign. So stay tuned, okay? Thank you very much for your participation and also support. So help me again pass the word about the campaign, and let's stretch out for the last 2 weeks and get more investing. So thank you very much, and you have a great days.
Thanks,
Thank
Cliff.
you.
Thank you. Have a good night.